Hola.
Hola, buenas noches. ¿Cómo están?
Diga hola, mamá.
¿Quién es?
Diga, hola, directora.
Hola, Maestra Clara, ¿cómo estás? ¿Quién es? ¿Eres tú, Elena? ¿Cómo estás, Elena? Bien, yo te veo. ¿Dónde estás, Elena? ¿Dónde estás?
Aquí estoy. Dile en mi casa.
¿Estás en tu casa? ¡Wow! Yo veo tu casa. ¿Y con quién estás? ¿Con quién estás?
¿Con quién estás?
¿Quién está ahí contigo? ¿Estás con mamá? Yay. Pues gracias por venir. Ok, ¿cómo estás, Maestra Clara?
Bien, hola.
Qué
¿Y
bueno.
ustedes cómo están?
Sí, todo bien. Hola.
Hola.
Hola, Martin.
Hola.
Los papás de Baby Reese. Okay, we'll wait here a minute and see if anyone else joins us, but this is good. We have an audience. We're so excited. I was telling Clara tonight, I was worried it was just going to be me and Clara talking to each other, which is okay. Clara's a great person to talk to. I wouldn't have minded, but it's good to have some participants in our class.
Yeah.
I am recording, so just to let everybody know, I don't know if I have to give notice that I'm recording, but I'm going to record this class and share the link with all the other families, because we do have quite a few parents who wanted to join us, but of course it's not the perfect, where there's no perfect time. So we just had to pick the time that we thought would be best for everyone, and then we'll share the video when we're all done. So, all right, well, we'll wait about 1 more minute and then we'll get started. ¿Dónde está Baby Reese?
Durmiendo.
¿Está durmiendo?
Sí,
Wow.
claro.
Muy temprano.
No.
¿Esto es temprano?
Okay.
Cada noche duerme, como a las 7.
Sí.
¿A qué hora duerme?
A 7.
A las 7. Wow, eso está bueno, muy bien.
Pero se levanté a las 5:30.
Ah, ok, se levanta temprano. Oh, eso es muy temprano. Las 5. ¿Quién es? Yo creo que veo a Maddie. ¿Eres tú, Maddie?
Sí.
¿Sí? ¿Quieres aprender más español, Maddie?
Sí.
Ahora, Maddie, mira, tú vas a enseñarle a mamá, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Sí, vas a enseñarle el español a mamá. Okay, well, we may have a couple of other families join us, but we're going to go ahead and get started so that way we should be able to finish up on time at 7:45, or not, I'm sorry, at 8:15. So that'll be about 45 minutes. Thumbs up if you can hear me pretty well, if I'm clear, if there's no problems or issues with the connection. Okay. All right, good. If you ever have an issue, let me know, or speak up, say something, thumbs down. I'll try to pay attention, and that way I don't go on for too long with any issues. Okay, well, what I'm going to do, first of all, I'll introduce myself. If you don't know me, or for those who maybe are watching this later on, My name is Ayodele Malor, and I'm director here at Wilmington Bilingual Preschool, and I'm super excited to be here tonight. I mentioned this in our first Community Connection Spanish class back in the fall. I'm a former high school Spanish teacher, so I started off teaching back in 2003. I taught at Laney High School, and that was the beginning of my Spanish career. And I love teaching Spanish, so it's a special treat. I love teaching the little guys at the preschool, but it's a really special treat to kind of go back to teaching adults. So I'm excited about this opportunity, and this is something that we'd wanted to do for quite some time, but just never could figure out the logistics of it. But now that everyone in the world is used to Zoom, it works out really, really well, this format. So thanks again for being here, for spending time with us. And I also have a special guest. If you want to say hola to Maestra Clara.
Hola.
Maestra Clara is fabulous. She is one of my favorite people in the whole world, somebody that I look forward to seeing every day, always puts a smile on my face. So I'm really excited that she could join us here tonight. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Maestra Clara in a couple of minutes. Okay, well, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on the presentation, and I'll share my screen. Okay, and okay, can everyone see that in the background? Can you see the presentation where it says Community Connections Parent Spanish Class? Thumbs up. Yeah, okay, perfect. All righty, so again, this is our second Community Connections Parent Spanish class, and our topic tonight is using Spanish at home with your child. And it's such a great idea. If you can incorporate a little bit of Spanish, a little bit goes a long way. So you don't have to necessarily be fluent, but what I do recommend is that what you do say to your child be correct. That's the most important thing at all. ASHA, which is the American Speech and Hearing Association, actually recommends that adults speak to children in their strongest language. That's one of the recommendations. So if your strongest language is English, you definitely want to use English with your child, but that doesn't mean you can't incorporate some Spanish. You can do that as long as what you're saying is correct and that your accent is as close as possible. So that's why I have with me tonight Maestra Clara. She's going to lend us her Venezuelan accent. And she'll be repeating, or actually you guys will be repeating after Maestra Clara and practicing your Spanish pronunciation with her. Alrighty, so I always like to start off with a quote, and this is one of my favorite quotes here related to language learning. Language is not a genetic gift, it is a social gift. Learning a new language is becoming a member of the club, the community of speakers of that language. And that is by Frank Smith. He's a famous linguist, and he actually just passed away at the beginning of this month. So, but he did lots of research on not only second language acquisition, but also first language acquisition. And this quote really speaks to me because that's how I feel about our school, Wilmington Bilingual Preschool. I think of it as this special community of people. We all have this shared interest, this shared love for foreign language and Spanish in particular. And we just consider all of our students, all of our parents at our school, our teachers, we're all just part of this big community. It's kind of like a club almost of just people that have this shared interest. So it's been a little bit more difficult to do it this year with COVID. We haven't been able to do all of the social events that we typically do, like our festival, our Day of the Dead festival, and then some of our Parents' Night Out events. But you know what? We're still here. We're still going, and we're looking forward to the spring and the summer. I think things will be much better. So, but again, thank you for being part of our club. All right, let's see. Okay, let me introduce you to Maestra Clara. Clara Arroyo Gonzalez is originally from Yaracuy, Venezuela. Clara, did I say that right?
Yes, sí. Yaracuy, Venezuela. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yaracuy, Venezuela. Okay, perfect. She graduated with a degree in accounting and moved to Florida in 2013. She joined Wilmington Bilingual Preschool in 2019 as our afternoon teacher and currently teaches our kindergarten/first grade combination class. Clara is well loved for her bubbly, energetic, and positive personality. In her free time, she enjoys baking, meeting new people, watching documentaries to learn new things, and spending time with her husband and dog. So un aplauso para la Maestra Clara. And I got to tell you, again, she's a special person. It's rare that you meet somebody as hardworking as Clara. I've said that from the beginning, since the time I knew her. But Clara just got home. She's been working, all evening. She and I left the school tonight about 6:15 p.m. and then she drove all the way to her home, which is kind of far from the school. So, anyways, I appreciate you for joining us, Clara, for taking the time to come tonight.
Me gusta.
Okay, gracias. All right, well, let's get started here. So tonight's class, we're going to focus on 5 easy phrases for parents. 5 easy phrases. These are phrases that I think anyone should be able to use, and they're very versatile phrases. So they're phrases that I think you could use in multiple situations. And then I'll expand on these phrases a little bit for people who maybe already have some basic knowledge of Spanish, if you'd like to use even more phrases that build on the phrases that we learned tonight. But first of all, we'll do a quick little vowels review. Vowels are really important in Spanish, so we'll review our vowels. We'll do the 5 common versatile phrases in Spanish. And then at the end, if we have time, we'll do 10 bonus phrases. So my husband was looking at the presentation. He said, I think you're getting carried away here. And I said, I know, but I like to give them extra. So we'll see if we get to the bonus phrases tonight. And then, of course, we'll integrate pronunciation practice with Maestra Clara. My recommendations for tonight's class, first of all, I would suggest that you focus on pronunciation tonight and repeating. Don't try to take a lot of notes. You don't have to do that because I'll send you the presentation tonight. I'll send an email out. I'll have the links to the Zoom, so you can watch it again. I'll also link to the actual PowerPoint, so you can take notes from that. So tonight, just practice the phrases and repeat. I also recommend you putting Zoom on mute, just so that way we're not all hearing each other speak at the same time, because it becomes difficult to hear if everybody's speaking. So we'll just watch your lips and we'll know that you're repeating after us, even though we can't hear you. Okay, as I said, later you can take notes, make flashcards. I'm a huge fan of flashcards. Back in the early 2000s, we didn't have all the amazing technology we have now, all of the apps and whatnot. So I remember my high school students, I would always tell them one of the requirements was that they go buy one of those flashcard boxes and a pack of index cards. So they actually work wonders, believe it or not. Making flashcards out of phrases and just practicing them is a really, really effective way. Although there are apps nowadays that you can use to practice phrases if you'd rather do that. There's flashcard apps. And one suggestion that I give for people, especially if you're new to Spanish, is choose a new phrase to practice. Just choose one phrase a week to practice that phrase until it becomes natural. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't try to do everything that we learned tonight next week with your child. You don't have to do that. Just pick a couple of phrases and go with it. And practice that until you remember it pretty easily. Okay, well, let's practice las 5 vocales en español. The 5 vowels in Spanish. Spanish vowels are so important because if you can remember the vowels, you can pronounce almost any word in Spanish. Most of the Spanish consonants are the same as in English, not all of them. And our first Community Connections class, which I'll also send a link to that one. I think that would be a good idea for review if anybody missed it or wants to see it. But in the first class, I went over the consonants that are different and just practice those differences. I'm not going to do that again tonight, but I did want to go over the vowels. So remember, in Spanish, your vowels, well, in English, they're A, E, I, O, U, but in Spanish, we say A, E, O, U. Okay, I'm going to have Maestra Clara. Maestra Clara, would you repeat the vowels? And you can just pause so that they can repeat after you.
So, A, E, I, O, U. I always say it. Tell to the kids, and the after school, I just say like más rápido, and they have to say ayo, ayo. So.
Okay, muy bien. A, E, I, O, U. And the biggest difference is make sure with the U, when you pronounce words that have a U in Spanish, your lips should be rounded. So it's ooh, ooh, ooh. Because in English, when you say you, your lips are a little bit flatter, but in Spanish, your lips should be very rounded. Ooh. Okay. All right, so let's go over what are the 5 common Spanish phrases that we're going to be learning tonight that you can use with your child. All right, phrase number 1, ¿cuántos? ¿Cuántos? ¿Cuántos means how many? Okay, so we're going to practice ¿cuántos tonight. And one of the language learning techniques that we use at our preschool is something called TPR. TPR stands for Total Physical Response. It's actually a language learning technique that was popularized in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it involves using motions, using movements to remember language. So one of the things we do with our kids, and it really, really works, it's very effective, is when you say something like ¿cuántos? That's a question. So you want to use your hands. ¿Cuántos? How many? That's something that you can do with your kids at home. ¿Cuántos? So think of movements that you can do with the words to kind of associate the words with the movement. Okay, then the second phrase that we're going to practice tonight, ¿dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Where are you? Third phrase, vamos. Vamos. Vamos means let's go. It can also mean we're going to do something or let's do something. Okay, so that's a really great little phrase to use. You can get a long ways with vamos. You can go a long ways with vamos. And one little note about the letter V in Spanish, just so that you can, sound as native-like as possible. In Spanish, there's no hard V, okay, like Valentine's Day, V. In Spanish, the letter V is kind of like a letter B. It's almost like in between a B and a V. So vamos, vamos. It's more like a B than a V. So if you had to pick, you would say vamos, not vamos. Okay, so your teeth will not, your teeth in English, your teeth, when you say the letter V, your teeth are on top of your bottom lip, vamos. But in Spanish, it's vamos. Your lips are going to be pursed together, vamos. Okay, and when we repeat after Maestra Clara, you can pay attention to her lips. If you can see them, take a look at her lips. Okay, the fourth phrase that we're going to do is ¿quieres? ¿Quieres? ¿Quieres means do you want? So if you want to ask your child if they want something, you're going to say ¿quieres? And the fifth phrase tonight, can you all see that? Or are the pictures blocking it? Okay, I can see you all and it's blocking it, but maybe it's not for me, for you all. The last phrase is tienes. Tienes. And again, look at those vowels. Tienes has some vowels in it. T, the I makes the E sound. Remember, A, E. So it's tienes. Do you have? So if you want to ask them about things that they have, you're going to say tienes. Okay, Maestra Clara, por favor, ¿puedes repetir cada palabra?
Claro. A ver, sería ¿cuántos? 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 Las dos. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Vamos. Vamos. ¿Quieres? ¿Quieres? Y ¿tienes? ¿Tienes?
Okay, perfect. Gracias, Maestra Clara. So again, looking at talking about TPR that we're going to incorporate with vamos, one of the motions that you could do with vamos is like this, vamos, vamos, okay, with your child when you're telling them to come on, let's go, vamos. All right, so let's take a look at each of those phrases in detail. We'll start off with the phrase cuántos. As we said, cuántos means how many. So let's take a look at some of the ways you can use cuántos in Español. One phrase you could use is cuántos hay. ¿Cuántos hay? ¿Cuántos hay literally means how many are there? So that's a phrase that we practice at the preschool, and we start even with our little toddlers counting items, and then with the big kids counting more items. But you can point to something, anything you want to count. You can say ¿cuántos hay? ¿Cuántos hay? Remember, in Spanish, you don't pronounce the H. The H is silent. The H never makes a sound, so just pretend it's not there. So it's ¿cuántos hay? How many are there? And then your child can simply count to answer the question. So if you have 5 items on the table that you're practicing counting with, you can say ¿cuántos hay? And point to them, and then start counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, another way that you can use the word cuántos is by asking how old your child is. This is always a fun little phrase to practice. Is Maddie there, Caroline? Is she around? Call Maddie over here for a second.
Come here, Matt.
¿Dónde estás, Maddie? Ven, ven.
Ella está aquí.
Maddie, ok, mira, tengo una pregunta. ¿Cuántos años tienes?
5.
Muy bien, tú tienes 5 años, perfecto. Gracias, Maddie. Okay, ¿cuántos años tienes? How old are you? And if you want it, you know, Maddie just used cinco, yo tengo 5 años, which is what most kids would say, but if you wanted to use a complete sentence, you could say tengo, like I have over here to the right with the little picture of the birthday cake. Tengo 10 años, I'm 10 years old. Tengo 5 años, I'm 5 years old, and so on and so forth. So that's a great little phrase to practice with your child. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Okay, and then I give the answer 4 años, or in Maddie's case, 5 años. Or the complete sentence, tengo 4 años. Okay, Maestra Clara, es tu turno.
La primera sería, ¿cuántos hay? ¿Cuántos hay? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? 4 años. Tengo 4 años.
Muy bien. Okay, perfecto. Okay, seguimos. Let's talk about the second phrase that I mentioned. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Where are you? Okay, this is when you want to look for things or look for people. So again, ¿dónde estás means simply where are you? Okay, ¿dónde estás? And your child may answer, you can teach your child to answer by saying, aquí estoy, aquí estoy. Okay. We do that sometimes in our classes when we're passing out papers. Maestra Clara does this actually, don't you, Clara? She lets the kids, she lets the kids help pass out papers for artwork or whatnot, and she'll pick a leader and they have to say, ¿Dónde está Maddie? And the children have to answer and say, aquí estoy, to get their items. Okay, another difference, another way you could use ¿Dónde estás? Would be take off the S, and it now means it's ¿Dónde está? And that means where is another person or another item. Okay, so ¿Dónde estás? Is talking to you, particularly you're talking to a person, okay? It's ¿Dónde estás? Direct. But if you want to know where something is, for example, ¿Dónde está mamá? ¿Dónde está tu mamá? Where's your mom? You would say está. Okay, here's an example. ¿Dónde está tu hermano? ¿Dónde está tu hermano? Where's your brother? So if you wanted to ask, where's your brother? ¿Dónde está tu hermano? Or if you wanted to ask, where's your sister? You just change hermano to hermana. ¿Dónde está tu hermana? ¿Dónde está tu papá? Where's your dad? If you wanted to use it with an item, you could say, ¿Dónde está? And in my example here, I put tu chaqueta. ¿Dónde está tu chaqueta? Where's your jacket? Okay. Ahí está. There it is. Okay. Ahí está means there it is. That's a little game that they like to play in our toddler room. Maestra Meady will play with the toddlers, and she'll hide them in this little big giant worm thing that we've got. And she'll say, ¿Dónde está Mary Reese? Ahí está. ¿Dónde está? Ahí está. So the kids love that game. So you could play peekaboo even. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? Ahí está. Okay, yeah, but asking, you know, your child where their items are, for example, you could put any noun after ¿Dónde estás? You could say, ¿Dónde está tu suéter? ¿Dónde están? Now we're getting into a little bit more grammar there, but ¿Dónde están? Would be for more than one thing. ¿Dónde están tus zapatos? ¿Dónde está mi teléfono? So, but again, you could put most words behind ¿Dónde está? To ask where they are. Okay, Maestra Clara, ¿estás lista? ¿Estás lista? Okay.
¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Aquí estoy. Aquí estoy. ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está? ¿Dónde está tu hermano? ¿Dónde está tu hermano? ¿Dónde está tu chaqueta? ¿Dónde está tu chaqueta? Allí está. Allí está.
Okay, muy bien, gracias, Clara. And one interesting thing about allí, double L in Spanish makes the y sound, makes the Y sound. Allí está. But depending on what country you're from, some people it's kind of a j sound. So they might say allí está. So just kind of depends on how you want to say it. But allí está. Okay, well, let's move on to, oh, we forgot no sé. Oh, no sé. I don't know. No sé.
No sé.
No sé. Okay. And parents, another thing too, another tip that, you know, especially if you have little bitty ones that aren't quite talking yet, you know, parents could use some of these phrases with each other as an example to your child, because as we say, they're listening to everything you say and everything you do, and they're taking notes. So if you wanted to try to incorporate some of these phrases amongst each other, the children can pick up on them that way too. Okay, let's go on to the next phrase, vamos. I love vamos. It's a fun, I don't know, it's just a fun word. Is it a fun word to you, Clara?
Sí, la puedes usar con muchas cosas.
That's right. Yeah, it's very, very useful verb. So vamos actually comes from the verb ir. Ir is an irregular verb. So you can see ir looks nothing like vamos. So it's one of those that when you're taking Spanish class in high school or college, you just have to memorize the forms, the conjugations, because ir just means to go. But vamos means let's go. Okay, it's the plural. So, all right, let's look at some ways that we can use vamos. Vamos, let's go. And we already talked about how the V is kind of a softer sound in Spanish. It's not a hard V, it's a vamos. Vámonos, you may have heard of vámonos. That means, come on, let's go. It's like extra emphasis, but it really means the same thing. Vámonos, let's go. All of us. Vamos rápido. So if you're in a hurry with your child, you can say, vamos rápido, vamos. Vamos can also be used to talk about going somewhere, okay? So you would say, vamos a, and then you would put a place after it. So for example, let's go to, vamos a, and then you'll say where you want to go, okay? So for example, if you wanted to go to Myrtle Beach, you could say, vamos a Myrtle Beach, vamos. Or to school, vamos a la escuela. And then we also have, vamos a ver a. That means let's go see, and then a person. Vamos is usually followed by a most of the time in Spanish. And then this second a here is what you call the personal a in Spanish. So if you're going to be talking about saying a person, you need to put a after ver. So anyways, you could just memorize that. But vamos a ver a tu abuela. Let's go see your grandma, for example. Or vamos a ver a Maestra Miri. Vamos a ver a la Maestra Clara. Let's go see Maestra Clara. So that's for when you want, vamos a ver a is for when you want to go see a person. Okay, and then one other way you can use vamos a, okay, again, vamos is usually followed by a, vamos a, and then you can put a verb there. And that means let's do so-and-so thing. So for example, vamos a comer, let's eat. Okay, so that's another way you can use vamos. So it really just means let's or let's go. Okay, let's see if I have some examples. Vamos a ver si tengo ejemplos. Okay, here we go. Actually, let's go back. Before we do the examples, I forgot. Let's have Maestra Clara repeat. Okay.
Okay, yeah. Vamos, vamos, vámonos, vámonos, vamos rápido, vamos rápido, vamos a la playa, vamos a ver a, vamos a ver a, vamos a, vamos a.
Perfecto. Gracias, Clara. Okay, muy bien. So let's take a look at some examples with the word vamos. Some real life examples. Okay, we already talked about vamos, means come on, let's go. You could say using the word vamos with places. Okay, so here's some places you could say with your child, about going with your child. Vamos a la escuela. Let's go to school. So when you're on the way to school in the morning, vamos a la escuela. Vamos, Finn. Vamos a la casa. Vamos a la casa. Let's go home. Okay, so when you're picking them up, you can say that. Vamos a la casa. Vamos a la biblioteca. Biblioteca is the library. Vamos al parque. Vamos al parque. Let's go to the park. And you may be wondering, or maybe you're not, but if you're wondering, why don't you say vamos a el parque? In Spanish, when you say a and el, it combines to become al. Okay, so you can't say a el. It turns into al. Vamos al parque. So if you're going to be going to a masculine place, a word that's masculine, so we're getting back into grammar again, you would say vamos al parque because parque is a masculine noun here. But la biblioteca, la casa, la escuela, they're all feminine. And again, you don't have to remember all of that. Some people just like to memorize the phrases, but I always loved grammar, and I think that's why I liked being a Spanish teacher in high school. It's because I enjoy understanding why you have to do a certain thing. So, some people don't care about the rules, they just rather memorize it, but I like to learn the rules, or at least teach you the rules so that you know. Vamos al baño. Vamos al baño. Let's go to the bathroom. Vamos afuera. Let's go outside. Vamos afuera. Vamos. Vamos adentro. Let's go inside. Vamos adentro. And then if you're wanting to go to someone's house, for example, you could say, vamos a la casa de tu abuela. Vamos a la casa de tu abuela. Let's go to your grandmother's house. Or if it's your aunt's house, vamos a la casa de tu tía. Let's go to your cousin's house. Vamos a la casa de tu primo. Okay, so you can put any family member here after tu, and that would mean let's go to so-and-so's house. Okay, ahora vamos a repetir. Vamos a repetir. Ah, did you hear that one? Vamos a repetir. Let's repeat. ¿Listos?
Vamos a la escuela. Vamos a la escuela. Vamos a la casa. Vamos a la casa. Vamos a la biblioteca. Vamos a la biblioteca. Vamos al parque. Vamos al parque. Vamos al baño. Vamos al baño. Vamos afuera. Vamos afuera. Vamos adentro. Vamos adentro. Vamos a la casa de tu abuela. Vamos a la casa de tu abuela.
Okay, muy bien. So there's lots of ways to use vamos with places. All right, let's talk about using vamos with a verb. You can use vamos with a verb, an infinitive verb, which is a verb in its original form, to say, let's go to, let's do something. Let's do this particular thing. So you would say, vamos a, so there's that a again that accompanies vamos, and then you're going to put a verb after it. And it's great because what I love about vamos a is you don't have to conjugate the verb. So if conjugating verbs is annoying and difficult, which it can be, then you can just use vamos and you don't have to conjugate it. All right, so here's a few examples that I could see you using with your children. Vamos a comer. Let's go eat. Vamos a comer, Finn. Okay, the teachers say that during the day. Vamos a hacer pipí. Vamos a hacer pipí. Let's go potty. Vamos a limpiar. They hear that a lot. Vamos a limpiar. Let's clean up. Come on, it's time to clean up. Vamos a limpiar. Vamos a leer un libro. Vamos a leer un libro. Let's read a book. Okay, maybe it's bedtime and you want to read a book. Vamos a leer un libro. Vamos a pintar. Vamos a pintar. Let's paint. Or if you want to color, vamos a colorear. Vamos a colorear. Okay, ¿listos para repetir? ¿Sí? Okay.
Vamos a comer. Vamos a comer. Vamos a hacer pipí. Vamos a hacer pipí. Vamos a limpiar. Vamos a limpiar. Vamos a leer un libro. Vamos a leer un libro. Vamos a pintar. Vamos a pintar. O vamos a colorear. Vamos a colorear.
Okay, muy bien. All right, so there you go. So we've looked at some ways to use the verb or the verb vamos. Okay, so practice those. Vamos is a great verb to know. Okay, and I think this is the last one, the word quieres. This comes from the verb querer, querer. Okay, quieres means do you want? So if you want to ask your child what they want, you would say quieres. Okay, tú quieres? Quieres, do you want? And a little tip with quieres is you can follow it with an infinitive verb. So for example, quieres comer? Do you want to eat? So you wouldn't have to conjugate the verb comer. Quieres comer? Do you want to eat? You could also follow it with a noun if you're asking, do you want a particular item? Okay, again, here's some, I must be hungry because I'm using comer a lot tonight. I haven't had dinner yet. So okay, ¿quieres comer? ¿Quieres comer? Do you want to eat? Comer is an infinitive verb, means to, and then that verb. ¿Quieres jugar? Do you want to play? So you could ask your child if they want to play. ¿Quieres jugar? Remember, the J in Spanish makes the H sound. Since the letter H is silent, the letter J makes up for that. So the letter J takes up and makes the H sound. ¿Quieres jugar? ¿Quieres ayudarme? Do you want to help me? ¿Quieres ayudarme? ¿Quieres ayudarme? ¿Quieres leer un libro? Do you want to read a book? ¿Quieres leer un libro? And again, you could also say vamos a leer un libro. Kind of the same idea, but vamos means come on, let's read a book. We're going to read a book. ¿Quieres is more you asking your child, ¿quieres leer un libro? Do you want to read one? ¿Quieres pintar? Whoop, do you want to paint? Typo there. ¿Quieres pintar means do you want to paint? So I'll fix that. ¿Quieres pintar? Do you want to paint? Or ¿quieres colorear? Do you want to color? ¿Quieres ir a? Do you want to go to? So for example, if you want to ask your child if they want to go to the park, you could say, ¿Quieres ir al parque? ¿Quieres ir al parque? And then you can also follow quieres with a noun. For example, ¿Quieres leche? Do you want milk? Okay, so you could ask your child, ¿Quieres leche? Sí, sí, quiero leche. Or ¿Quieres jugo? Jugo means juice. Again, that J is going to make the H sound. ¿Quieres jugo? Do you want water? ¿Quieres agua? ¿Quieres? Okay, and a simple sí or no is perfectly fine. And then a couple of other, let's see, ¿Quieres más? Oh, we use this lots at the school. ¿Quieres más? ¿Quieres más? Do you want some more? And again, your child can say sí or no, or they could also extend that and say sí quiero. Sí quiero más, or no quiero. No quiero más. Okay, ¿listos para repetir?
¿Quieres? ¿Quieres? ¿Quieres comer? ¿Quieres comer? ¿Quieres jugar? ¿Quieres jugar? ¿Quieres ayudarme? ¿Quieres ayudarme? ¿Quieres leer un libro? ¿Quieres leer un libro? ¿Quieres pintar? ¿Quieres colorear? ¿Quieres ir a? ¿Quieres ir a? ¿Quieres leche? ¿Quieres jugo? ¿Quieres agua? ¿Quieres más? Sí, quiero. No quiero.
Okay, muy bien. All right, let's see. I guess I must have had one more verb here. Tienes. Tienes. Okay, this comes from the verb tener. And using tienes, it means do you have? Okay, so again, a tip is you could follow tienes with the noun. Okay, for example, if you want to ask your child, do you have your shoes? ¿Tienes tus zapatos? ¿Tienes tus zapatos? Okay. Do you have your lunchbox? ¿Tienes tu lonchera? ¿Tienes tu lonchera? And you could also say, ¿Dónde está tu lonchera? So, ¿Dónde está? Remember, we learned that back at the beginning is where is your lunchbox? But if you're wanting to ask if they have it, ¿Tienes tu lunchbox? ¿Tienes tu lonchera? So you're just changing out the verb. ¿Tienes tu mochila? Do you have your backpack? Tienes tu abrigo? Do you have your coat? Or tienes tu chaqueta? Do you have your jacket? Lots of teachers at the school use chaqueta. Abrigo is kind of a heavier coat, correct, Clara?
Yeah.
Okay. ¿Tienes tu comida? Do you have your food? ¿Tienes tu comida? Okay, Maestra Clara, ¿puedes repetir?
¿Tienes? ¿Tienes? ¿Tienes tus zapatos? ¿Tienes tus zapatos? ¿Tienes tu lonchera? ¿Tienes tu lonchera? ¿Tienes tu mochila? ¿Tienes tu mochila? ¿Tienes tu abrigo? ¿Tienes tu chaqueta? ¿Tienes tu comida? Yeah.
Okay, ya. Ya is also another great little word to use in Spanish. Ya means that's it, all done. Okay, ya, we're finished. Ya. That's Y-A, ya. So if your child's eating and they're all done, you can say, ya, ya terminaste? All finished? Okay, now tener is, again, that's another one of those really useful verbs in Spanish. It means to have, but there's special phrases that you can use with the verb tener. So let's go over a couple of those. Tienes hambre. Tienes hambre. It means, are you hungry? It literally translates to, do you have hunger? Okay, so in Spanish, you're not hungry because that would mean you're describing yourself as hungry, but do you have hunger? Tienes hambre? Tienes sed. Are you thirsty? Do you have thirst is literally what it says because tener means to have. ¿Cuántos años tienes? We learned that phrase earlier. How old are you? ¿Cuántos años tienes? When we practice the word cuántos. ¿Qué tienes? ¿Qué tienes is kind of like saying, ¿qué pasa? What's wrong? Okay, it literally translates to, what do you have? But, you know, if your child's being crazy, it's ¿qué tienes? Clara, is it okay to say that? Is that all right, or is that kind of rude?
Sí, ¿qué tienes? O ¿te pasa algo? ¿Qué pasa? Yeah.
Okay, ¿qué tienes? Tienes que. Tienes que is a great phrase. Again, it's followed with an infinitive verb. So I tried to find phrases that are easy, that can be followed by an infinitive verb that you don't have to conjugate. So tienes que means you have to do something. Okay, so for example, if you want to tell a child, you have to listen. Tienes que escuchar. Tienes que escuchar. Okay, escuchar means to listen. Tienes que escuchar. You're telling you have to do this. Tienes que comer. You have to eat. Tienes que comer. Tienes que ayudarme. You have to help me. Tienes que ayudarme. Okay, so tienes que means you have to. All righty, Maestra Clara, lista.
Okay, so, ¿tienes hambre? ¿Tienes hambre? ¿Tienes sed? ¿Tienes sed? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Cuántos años tienes? ¿Qué tienes? ¿Qué tienes? Tienes que. Tienes que. Tienes que escuchar. Tienes que escuchar. Tienes que comer. Tienes que comer. Tienes que ayudarme. Tienes que ayudarme.
Okay, muy bien. All righty, well, great job. Give yourselves an applause, un aplauso. We got through our 5 phrases, 5 useful phrases in Spanish, so we have time for the bonus phrases. So hopefully you're not proving my husband right. Hopefully it's not too much, but I wanted to throw in some bonus phrases here that you can practice and maybe incorporate as well. Okay, so here's the first bonus phrase. Ven aquí. Ven aquí. That means come here. Okay, ven, ven. Some people just say ven, but ven aquí means come here. Okay. ¿Te gusta? ¿Te gusta? Do you like? Okay, so you want to ask your child if they like something. ¿Te gusta? Sí, me gusta. Me gusta. I like it. Come. Come. Come means eat. Okay, so if you give your child a plate of food, you might say come. Some people say cómetelo. ¿Verdad, Maestra Clara? Cómetelo?
Cómetelo. Yeah, cómetelo. Yeah.
Cómetelo means eat it up. Eat it up. Cómetelo.
Yeah.
But you can also just say come.
Es correcto, los dos.
Te toca. So if you're playing a game with your child, you can say, te toca, te toca. That means it's your turn. Literally means it touches you, but it translates to your turn. Te toca. Or you could say, tu turno. Tu turno. Los dos están correctos, ¿verdad, Maestra Clara?
Sí, los dos están correctos.
Me toca. When it's your turn, the parent's turn, my turn. Me toca. Or mi turno. ¿Terminaste? ¿Terminaste? All done? Okay, you're asking past tense there of terminar. Are you all done? ¿Terminaste? ¿Cómo hace la vaca? For example, animal sounds. Kids love making animal sounds. So I just use la vaca as an example, but you could put any animal there. ¿Cómo hace la vaca? What does the cow say? How does he make? That actually means what sound does he make? ¿Cómo hace el caballo? ¿Cómo hace el perro? Wow, wow. Okay. I always thought that was kind of funny, the animal sounds. Gosh, we could do a whole class on animal sounds in Spanish. You know the animals make different noises in Spanish, right? Clara, ¿cómo hace el perro en español?
El perro barca. So, wow, wow.
Wow, wow. See, I always thought that. I got a kick out of that because in Spanish, dogs say wow, wow. But in English, they say woof, woof. Or what's another one? Oh, kikiriki. Kikiriki. ¿Quién hace kikiriki? That would be the rooster.
Gallo.
Yeah, so in Spanish, roosters don't say cock-a-doodle-doo. They say kikiriki.
Kikiriki.
So yeah, the noises are different. But anyways, okay. ¿Cómo hace la vaca? Vaca hace mu. La vaca hace mu. That one's the same. All cows go moo in every language. Okay. Whoops. ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice means how do you say? That's always a fun little game to play. ¿Cómo se dice hello in español? ¿Cómo se dice hello? Hola. Okay. But also, ¿cómo se dice is good for what are you supposed to say? So let's say you give your child something, okay? And they're supposed to say thank you, right? We give them something, you say, what do you say? Thank you. ¿Cómo se dice? Gracias. ¿Cómo se dice? Gracias. So sometimes parents will remind their child to say thank you with that phrase. And then, okay, ¿cómo se dice? Gracias. And then also whenever you say gracias is thank you. So you can respond with de nada, you're welcome. Gracias, de nada. Okay, Maestra Clara, ¿quieres repetir una vez más?
Claro, a ver. Ven or ven aquí, ven aquí. ¿Te gusta? ¿Te gusta? Me gusta, me gusta. Come, come. Te toca. Or tu turno. Me toca, mi turno. ¿Terminaste? ¿Cómo hace la vaca? ¿Cómo hace la vaca? ¿Cómo se dice? ¿Cómo se dice hola? ¿Cómo se dice adiós? Gracias, de nada.
Okay, muy bien. Gracias, Maestra Clara.
De nada.
All righty. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this class. I had a lot of fun with it. And again, gracias, Maestra Clara, por acompañarnos esta noche. If you're wanting to learn more and just keep practicing that Spanish, I have 2 resources here that I will share with you. One is my favorite YouTube channel for learning languages. I tell everybody about it. It's Butterfly Spanish on YouTube. It's a Spanish teacher. I don't remember where she's from exactly, but she's been doing videos for a long time. She has hundreds of videos, and a lot of them are pretty short, but she just covers all kinds of fun phrases, fun topics in Spanish. So definitely check her channel out. She explains things really, really well. So that's a great resource for everyone, and it's free. And then I linked to a website that has an article about a write-up, 100 easy Spanish phrases to use with your baby. So if the 10 bonus phrases weren't enough and the 5 phrases that we learned weren't enough, you can go see 100 easy Spanish phrases to practice at home with your baby. And like I said, just have fun with it, incorporate it when you can, and you'll really see your child start to make those connections, and it'll become more and more natural for them. So Does anyone have any questions? Anything you wanted to know? A question for me or Clara? No?
No questions, but thank you both so much. We really appreciate this.
Aw. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, we were happy to have an audience. Thank you so much.
This is really helpful.
Okay, good. All righty, bueno, vamos a decir adiós.
Adiós.
Let's say goodbye. Vamos a decir adiós.
Feliz noche.
Sí, feliz noche. Adiós.
Bye.
Bye.
Listo. Bueno, nos vemos la próxima semana.
Sí, nos vemos el lunes, Maestra. Cuídate mucho.
Igualmente, bye.
Bye.
Adiós. Adiós.